The last round of NZ World Series Sprintcars was tainted by controversy. James McFadden stripped of his victory for an infield pass, a decision that left the former champ fuming.
Tonight it's about J-Mac back-to-back nights.
We're getting word over the radios that he has been docked 2 spots for an infield pass. J-Mac not happy at all as he pulls into the infield. How will J-Mac bounce back from a tough call as the teams arrive at Avalon? Well, this is a track where he's been on the podium for the last 4 years running. But tonight, up against nearly 50 other dirt track desperados. This is round 4 of NZ World Series Sprint Car.
Well, after the controversy of round 3 in Mount Gambier, NZ World Series Sprint Cars rolls into Avalon for round 4. It's also the third night of USC Speedweek. James McFadden joining me at the top of the show. Have you accepted the decision of what happened in Mount Gambier now? Have you put it behind you? We wanted to kick off our coverage by starting off with talking to yourself about how you feel after what happened in Mount Gambier.
Obviously not that happy about the decision, but you've got to move on. Tonight's another night. We've got plenty more nights to go, so yeah, not happy about it all, but it's good to see we've finally done something about it. It's probably 5 or 6 years too late, but time's changed, so it's good someone's done something about it.
Yeah, we'll elaborate on that a bit more with Johnny Gibson shortly. I remember a race here at Avalon with Jason Johnson running the infield where you came second on that time. It seems like you've been on the wrong end of the decision on 2 occasions. How do you move on from that?
Like I said, we just race a lot. Tonight's a completely different night, and I've been racing long enough to know now you get drawn the bad end or the good end. So hopefully tonight we can stay away from the infield barriers, because that'd be embarrassing if I hit one, and move on and see if we can keep going the way we've been going.
That's certainly the most animated I've seen you in a car. When you came infield, there was a lot of swearing, there was a lot of carrying on. You were pretty emotional at that time.
Yeah, I was. I spent most of the race pounding the top, and the one lap I did go down, I got into trouble for. So I was just more annoyed that I was the only one that got into trouble. Obviously I was following a lot of the cars and they were all using it. So in the rule book it says you're not allowed to use it as an advantage, and everyone seemed to be. So that was what I was angry about. Not so much the decision, just that I was the only one.
J-Mac, we love the passion. Don't change for anyone, mate, and always speak your mind, because we love it on World Series TV. Time to check out the points, because J-Mac is absolutely in with a shot at the championship this year. 3 rounds down, Jamie Veal on top of the points, but with that win at Mount Gambier, Brooke Tatnell moves into second, Luke Dillon, James McFadden fourth, but I should also mention McFadden is leading our USC Speedweek points score at the moment, and by not starting the A-main, Stephen Lyons unfortunately drops back to 5th. Murcott could have done with a win. It would have seen him jump up inside the top 5, and definitely worth a shout out, Jason Pride and the W14 inside the top 10 at the moment. Ready for tonight's B-main here at Avalon. A couple of big names to watch out for, a couple of Americans to watch out for. Johnny, we might know a bit about Brandy Hannigan, but Thomas Meserole, there's a name that a lot of people might not know.
T-Mez in only his 3rd time ever in a wing sprint car, but so successful without the wing on top. Scored the big victory at Eldora during the 4 Crown Nationals with USAC. Also picked up a $10,000 USAC score at Lawrenceburg. And he should be fun to watch. How much does he like getting a car sideways? Well, when he's not behind the wheel of a sprint car, he's drifting.
He also won both his heats earlier as well, so no stranger to being sideways. Ian Loudon, 13th, needs to pass 7 cars to make the show. Last year's B-main winner is off the front row. That's Joe O'Keefe, as we are set for the last chance dance.
Peter Mills to his outside as the green flag waves on the B. Field bunching up through turns 1 and 2, 3 wide further back in the pack. And Ian Loudon was trying to make it 3 wide there for a moment as well. We see Brock Howland going up high. He gets bottled up, and that will open up the inside of the door for Mayolo. Now Tranter back to his inside. All kinds of stuff happening here on lap number 1.
Busy B so far as we check out Jamie Hennessy trying to work his way through the field. Cars to pass, trying to make his way towards the top 6. Oh, big time up and down.
Ryan Davis gets into the wall and tumbles in turn 4. Davis coming off a 7th place finish here at a club show on Boxing Night. Much different result here this evening. The good news is he is okay.
On his side, all by himself at the back of the pack, just got way up high, right rear digs in, and went for a fairly large ride. When a car goes upside down, it instantly brings out the red flag, and so the entire field has to stop where they are.
You can see the impact there and how it sucks the car into the wall once it makes contact. From there, just no place for Davis to go, and he rides out a rough one at Avalon.
High-Tech Oil's replay was fairly dramatic. So O'Keefe, the leader. Remember how he won that B main last year and everyone thought it was Stephen Lyons? That was a weird race.
On board with Ian Loudon. We talked about his struggles earlier. He's got to work his way from 13th up to 6th, and right now, not quite there. You can see the line of cars in front of him as we go back to green.
Everyone's spacing themselves out nicely on the restart.
Randy Hannigan up a little high, and there's Timez, Thomas Meserol right behind him. You can see Meserol hiking that left front wheel up off the ground as he enters the corner.
Oh, Hutchins threw on him. The tornado teaches the American a lesson and pushes Meserol back a couple of spots, and that was for a transfer.
So Timothy Hutchins has the transfer spot right now. Right behind him was Darren Molyneux, another driver we're not used to seeing in the B main, and again, Meserol trying to go back to work on the high side of the speedway. Brock Howlett trying to recover from some contact early on in this one. And again, there is that number 3, a former Classic winner, Ian Loudon, struggling here in the B main. 5 down and 10 to go.
Broken front wing on the 99, and that is always going to take away a lot of front grip. That's Demain Ramsey, so he's actually sitting comfortably in the transfers right now. Could this be a moment that kicks him out?
Ramsey riding in the 3rd spot. Timez once again there on the top side entering turn 1.
Jamie Hennessy getting very close to the wall. On approach down towards turn 3. So 8 laps to go, top 6 to transfer. Hutchins sitting on that spot at the moment, working our way through some traffic now.
Darren Molyneux, always good here at Avalon, trying to work his way forward, hugs the low side of the speedway into 1 and 2. You can see him quickly reach for a tear-off there. Molyneux just on the outside looking in, needs to find a way by Hutchins, but he's got Meserol right behind him as well.
Changing fortunes for Tasmanian. Hutchins back-to-back nights. Last night started the A feature from inside the front 4 rows, as there's definitely a bit of rubber through that mid part of the racetrack. Smoke starting to form once again, and Meserol rising up to the challenge.
Meserol, little tap to the back bumper of Molyneux, now takes a look to the inside. 5 to go, they are racing for 7 and only 6. Oh, Meserol up high, and he will loop the car. Tough end to a charge, and now behind them, cars get taken out as well. Jai O'Keefe tries to keep going. Peter Milnes actually gets into him, and Milnes has broken the front end on the 51.
And into Davis on the infield. What is going on? First and second, out of the race, out of the transfers, and they will not start in the A main. Whoa!
Drama with 5 to go in the B, and it started when Thomas Meserol looked to the inside of Darren Molyneux coming down the backstretch. Molyneux went down to slam the door, and you can see Meserol's car drift up the racetrack. He tried to save it, just spun to a stop, but then behind him, everybody trying to avoid contact. Ryan Jones there gets into Jai O'Keefe. Jai O'Keefe trying to keep the engine fired. If he would have been able to drive away from that one, he could have maintained his spot in the running order, but instead collects Peter Milnes, and Milnes broken front end into the infield into Ryan Davis's disabled car.
I think everyone needs a minute after that one. That was just a bizarre incident. Demain Ramsey still limping around with the broken front wing, but still in a transfer. Same goes Daniel Harding. If anything, this will put the broken front end of the 99 to the lead.
So with 5 to go, Demain Ramsey leads the field back into action. Timothy Hutchins now looks to the high side of Randy Hannigan. They will battle for the 3rd spot. Just in front of them, Daniel Harding. Hutchins can't make the move to the top side now. He'll try to slam down to the low side exiting turn 4. Hutchins still in the 4th spot. Hannigan coming after Harding. We go on board, courtesy of Shannon's Insurance. Ian Loudon looking to the inside of Ricky Maiolo.
These guys fighting around those transfer spots, courtesy of the 2 leaders being taken out. This has promoted 1 or 2 guys, including Glenn Sutherland, into a position where they can make the A. Whoa, Harding sideways, Hannigan sideways, Hutchins goes into him. Oh, they're all in the fence.
What has happened here? Darren
Oh!
Molyneux collected by Mesereau. It just all broke down there, and I think what happened was somebody got into the water barrier and actually punctured it. Water all over the racetrack, and that's why everybody got sideways into turn 2.
In front of this packed crowd, the dust rises up at Avalon. Domain Ramsey comes by and thinks, what on earth has happened here? High-Tech Oil's replay, as if this B-main couldn't get any stranger. Oh, Ramsey hit the water. Oh, there it is. Definitely.
Ramsey and Harding got into the water, but were able to keep the car straight. But behind them, it all breaks loose. And again, that impact there between Thomas Mesereau and Darren Molyneux. Watching Glenn Sutherland as he gets into the water. You can see that spray there.
He was on that transfer bubble, as the crowd can't believe what they've saw. Oh my goodness, that is a sickening impact. From Ricky Maiolo's point of view. Oh, you can see the water. It's like a swimming pool out there. Bizarre one. King did a really good job pulling that car up, but the bizarre thing is, Johnny, we've only got 5 finishes. We need to take 6 to the A.
Here's the way it's been decided from the NZ World Series Sprint Cars officials. 5 cars remaining under power after that accident, so they will move to the top 5 spots in the finishing order. The 6th and final car to transfer into the main event will be the driver who was running at the highest of those involved in the accident on the previously scored lap, which means Adam King will get the final transfer spot in the 48. Well, while B main gives us our final 6 starters in the A feature, we'll find out who the top 8 are. The shootout comes up after the break.
NZ World Series, supported by High-Tech Oil. It's nearly time for the A. This track that opened back in the 70s. But Johnny, I don't think they've had a stranger night than tonight. The B was weird, but there's also been some news around Stephen Lyons.
Yeah, Lyons actually crashed while warming up for a heat race. Now, they had reworked the track. They sent cars out to help work the moisture into the surface. Lyons got into the wall, was unable to start his heat race, but fortunately for him, still had garnered enough points to qualify for the top 8 shootout, and he was able to advance into the silver medal round. He'll start 6th in the main event, but the drivers we're seeing here, the drivers in the gold medal round, they'll be our top 4 starters, and they are led by that V35 of Jamie Veal.
So Veal continuing on from strong form earlier in this summer. Avalon, a track which he typically goes well at, and we are set for the show tonight. This is the A main. Those 6 drivers that somehow managed to advance out of that B, as Johnny Gibson described. Adam King, the lucky man to pick up that final transfer spot. We've ever seen a B main where only 5 cars finish out of the 18 starters. That was a hectic one. Plenty of onboards, thanks to Shannon's Insurance, to watch out for. That one is Luke Dillon, looking at that right rear tyre as we go 4 wide here at Avalon.
What a front row of the 4 wide formation. Veal, McFadden, Hurst, and Tatnall. Some names to watch for from the back of the pack. KK Fallon qualifying for his 2nd main event in 3 tries with NZ World Series Sprint Cars this season. And of course, Ian Loudon, who after all of the drama at the end of the B main found himself into the A feature.
Unbelievable. Rather be lucky than good, I say. As the fireworks go off, that is an intimidating looking 4 wide as they scroll down towards turn 1. We're going to get the final thoughts from Bryony Ingerson on the infield. It's been an unbelievable night so far. Do we have any last minute surprises?
Some good news for David Murcott fans. There was obviously an oil leak with the Australia one. Some concern from the team there for a while. They did find that it was just a loose oil line, no damage to the engine, so he's going to start in position 10 for the A main. And I spoke to some of the drivers before they headed out here. A little bit of concern about the turn behind me here. They believe it'll take rubber very, very quickly. Some deciding between the standard tyre or a harder one. I think most have gone the conservative option, but we'll see how it all plays out.
A harder tyre will last longer if this track does indeed take rubber. That is one of the talking points. Can Jamie Veal extend his championship lead? Can the Milwaukee kid, Carl Hurst, get himself onto the podium? Hasn't got a top 5 so far this year. So much to talk about. 35 laps and 10K on the line.
Green and go at Avalon for USC Speedweek. They'll race into turn 1. Jamie Veal on the bottom, but it's Kyle Hurst on the top of the speedway, grabbing the early lead. 3 wide further back in the pack. Ian Loudon on the outside of that effort. Oh, in turn 4, Murcott gets into Fallon. Ryan Jones and Ian Loudon with no place to go. Loudon nearly tips it over, and you can see some pretty serious damage, especially to the left side panel on the top wing of the Essendon Ford number 3.
A heartbreaker, that one, for Ryan Jones after all that work to get back to Murray Bridge to build a new car. And Loudon's luck runs out in the feature. It looked like Murcott got really tight down low and the car just turned right on him. There it is. The tail tank full of fuel, and that can be the result.
You also have to wonder if perhaps the power steering problems have returned. Remember, last night at Mount Gambier had a big lead and the car got tight at the end because he basically just couldn't hang on to it. He had lost the power steering.
Wow, is that water getting up on the camera as well down there? And lots to talk about. It'll be a full restart, so Kyle Hurst will have to do it again, which is a shame. He had a cracking start, actually beat Jamie Veal. Needs to reset.
Interesting look there we had just for a moment. The difference in wing angles between Jamie Veal and Kyle Hurst. Veal has the wing at a little sharper angle there. Hurst's wing a little more flat as they get set to go green one more time. They're side by side out of turn 4.
J-Mac not giving an inch. We rode over his shoulder there for a moment. Loudon gets back underway with damage to his top wing. And it also looks like Jones is wobbling around the back now with damage too. J-Mac really sideways, but up to second, so he got the jump on Jamie Veal.
So Kyle Hurst with the lead. James McFadden running second, watching Ian Loudon try to recover from an earlier incident and move his way forward. Meanwhile, Kyle Hurst out in front and behind him, trouble just out of turn 4, and there's a car taking a wild ride there. It is Adam King, the man who was the beneficiary of that ruling with the confused finish of the Beam A.
A crash on that very corner in the B saw him make the A, and then it is his demise. He got up really high in the fence. Murcott's involved, facing the wrong way down the speedway.
See if we can find out what happened here from the High-Tech Oils replay. Field down the backstretch. The contact had already taken place between Murcott and Brett Milburn, and everybody else trying to avoid it. Adam King goes for a wild, wild ride. Rides over a tire.
That's looking out the back of Murcott. Watch to the right. Oh my goodness. That was huge. And he comes down on the front end of Domain Ramsey. It's been one of those nights tonight. Sometimes all you can do is laugh. It's been hectic. Shannon's Insurance on board. Luke Dillon minding his own business, just staying out of trouble. Outside the top few spots, we're set for restart. How badly does Kyle Hurst want a World Series victory? He's going to lead us back to the green flag with some heavy hitters behind him.
We get back underway. Hurst pulls away from James McFadden. Both drivers work the middle of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. Jamie Veal in the third spot. McFadden trying to get a run on Hurst. He'll take a peek to the inside as Hurst drifts up the racetrack, but nothing doing there. Kyle Hurst maintains the lead.
McFadden is looking fast. After the controversy of Mount Gambier, he is hungrier than ever. He's won here in the past. He's actually looking for his 5th straight podium at this track. That's looking like almost a certainty at the moment, but still plenty of laps to run.
Further back in the pack, Brett Milburn to the inside of Ian Loudon. Milburn trying to work his way back forward after the accident on the back straightaway involving David Murcott. And there's a look at Murcott there as he goes to work on Ryan Jones, Jake Tranter, and Loudon doing battle there.
It's been a forgettable night for Murcott. This is his home race too. Lives fairly close to Avalon, and here he is at the back of the pack. It's not been a week that he or Inglis or the rest of the team would have liked, but he needs to keep searching for points. Luke Dillon working his way through. Speedweek champion from last year.
Something just doesn't sound quite right with that car. I'm not sure what it is, but it sounds a little strange. We'll have to keep an eye on that, or an ear on that, as we progress through this main event.
Something like a tractor, almost like it's dropped a cylinder. There he goes just there. Maybe a broken header for the W26. Doesn't seem to be taking too much speed away. Fairly hectic racing in the mid-pack here. Ryan Jones and Dave Murcott, 2 contractor boys, just scrambling for whatever points they can tonight.
You can see Murcott work the steering wheel, tossing the car into turn 1 and making his way out of the second corner and down the backstretch. Again, a little bump of the infield concrete curb with that left front wheel, but certainly nothing to worry about for Murcott. Back to the battle for the lead. J-Mac has caught up with the Milwaukee Power Tools number 17 now. Kyle Hurst trying to hold off the 2-time World Series champion.
McFadden searching high. It's a really tough racetrack to get the job done on the high side. Not much banking to work with. For the same reason, it's hard to throw slide jobs, so he is going to have to work this one out.
A lap or two from getting into slower traffic. J-Mac to the top, and look at this! McFadden drives around Kyle Hurst to take the lead.
That is just a supreme pass. Sometimes this guy can just be so smooth, and we have a new leader. It's James McFadden looking to put a big exclamation mark on USC Speedweek. Now he's into the traffic.
And he's working the top side of the speedway well. We saw him drive around the outside of Ryan Jones. Kyle Hurst now just catching up to Jones. He'll try to work his way around the top side as well.
What does Kyle Hurst have to do to win a round of NZ World Series Sprint Cars? You can never find the luck as Keke Fallon finds the infield. Oh, Tranter caught up in that one. There was contact, but we stay racing.
Look how good McFadden is on the top of the racetrack, trying to make his own groove up there. Kyle Hurst will follow him into turn one, but McFadden very strong on a cushion here at the Avalon Raceway.
Hurst yet to find a podium or a top five so far this year, but it looks like tonight might end that streak as he ticks off David Murcott, just flying around the outside.
Hurst working the wheel and working to the outside of Brett Milburn, now dives down low. J-Mac's got a couple of lap cars between himself and the second place driver, and Hurst trying to find a way around them.
Hurst needs to keep moving. He doesn't know how close Jamie Veal will be to his rear tail tank, so needs to keep pushing through the traffic. But look how simple it is for James McFadden, who now has a lot of clear racetrack ahead of him. He's driving just like he did at Murray Bridge.
McFadden making use of the top of the racetrack, and he's one of the only drivers in the field that seems to be good on the high side. It's played to his advantage in not only allowing him to drive around the outside of Hurst for the lead, but get around most of the lap traffic as well, because most of the slower cars are still running that lower groove.
That shows you just how big that lead is. 3 lappers in between first and second. Hurst cannot get around the former Victorian 360 champion Brett Milburn, always a very capable driver.
Hurst tries to get by Milburn, gets very close to the back bumper of the 68, now dives down to the inside, makes the pass on Milburn. Daniel Harding right in front of him, but the longer Hurst takes to deal with the slower traffic, the bigger J-Mac's lead gets.
There is the race leader, well past the halfway point, but another big wave of traffic left to pick off. We've got also Brad Keller starting to pour the pressure on now to Luke Dillon. It's Dillon who's definitely struggling that car. You can hear it out there at the moment.
McFadden now tries the inside of the racetrack. A nice move to get by Daniel Pesca. The nose wing sideways on Pesca's car. Now Pesca drives back by the leader. McFadden now goes back to his preferred top groove to try to make a way around Pesca into turn one.
Shame the night didn't really work out for Pesca after getting one of those quick time awards. He turned that into a top 8 shootout appearance, but he's got the race leader putting him down a lap. J-Mac doing it easy at the moment.
McFadden drives around Pesca. Now, more traffic.
Whoa.
Keller drifts up the racetrack, and that's an easy one for J-Mac.
The other guy that took the quick time award, John Vogels, is next to Victorian. J-Mac ripping through this field.
McFadden has now worked his way into the top 10 as far as the cars, and he has put a lap down. That is so very impressive, especially here at Avalon when things are normally so very tight.
And Milwaukee, number 17, a thing of the past for McFadden. He doesn't have to worry about second place. He's just worrying about the traffic, putting this car where he wants. Again, got to say, Tim Gleeson and James McFadden, a crew chief combo that is really starting to work. Look at these guys that he's lapping.
Passing Luke Dillon and Stephen Lyons, who raced for position in front of him, and now coming after the Schlam Engineering 49 of Ryan Jones once again. And McFadden now lapping up to the top 5.
He is putting on an absolute display. When J-Mac drives like this, no one in Australian Speedway can touch him. Simply glides by Ryan Jones.
Well, for all of the concern early in this one as to tire wear and the track perhaps taking rubber, McFadden took that completely out of the equation by running the top of the racetrack, by keeping the right rear into and sometimes above that cushion. There's certainly no concern for tire wear on the Western Diamond Drillers 25.
As he goes around Keke Fallon now. Inside the last 5 laps, McFadden just seemingly getting faster and freer. So many lap cars between himself and second place Kyle Hurst. Kyle looks like he's finally on board now for a podium, but it's all about this man.
Not often the top line is the fastest here at Avalon, but tonight, remember, the infield barriers tires down there blocking off that inside line. And now, as the laps wind down, trouble. The caution flag will wave for Daniel Pesca. And what was a 7.5 second lead for James McFadden has just gone away.
It can be a cruel, cruel sport sometimes. Hurst says, thank you very much, takes a massive free kick and will lurch onto the back of J-Mac's tail tank for a restart. Brooke Tatnell just staying quietly outside the top three at the moment as we go green all the way, hopefully to the checkers. Hurst, can he pinch one here away from James McFadden? Oh, he's checking out by the looks of it.
J-Mac right back to the top of the racetrack, right rear back into the cushion. Now Veal down to the very bottom as McFadden pulls away from Hurst with 3 laps to go.
Veal getting away from Tatnell. Tatnell has 17 podiums out of the 30 races here. It's a ridiculous stretch, but it looks like he's going to miss the podium tonight as we're on the second last lap for the leader.
James McFadden, a performance worth remembering here tonight at the Avalon Raceway, is dominating a drive as we've seen with NZ World Series Sprint Cars in quite some time.
This means that he's going to open up a nice lead in USC Speedweek. Carl Hurst looks set to end his streak, but here comes J-Mac.
McFadden rides the high side out of turn 4 and down to the checkered flag. J-Mac wins at Avalon, and on the backstretch, looks like Luke Dillon and Stephen Lyne. Something happened there, but no problems for J-Mac. He's headed to victory lane.
James McFadden with a win that he thoroughly deserved, and what a way to forget what happened at Mount Gambier. He wins it at Avalon. That was a big result. Carl Hurst finally on the podium in season 15-16. Veal continues his strong form. Johnny Vogels, that is his first top 5 for the 46-year-old in World Series action in, get this, 11 years. That is outstanding. Lyons 10th, Dillon 12th, but what happened to them?
Taking a look at the Shannon's Insurance onboard from Luke Dillon, and oh, you can see that right rear tire just explode. Now, we saw the tire just 4 laps ago. It looked fine, so it's obviously not a tire wear issue. Something has cut that tire, and Stephen Lyons basically just spinning to avoid the flying debris.
Late race drama, but let's hear from our winner.
James McFadden, if you had a point to prove after Mount Gambier, you did that well and truly. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, obviously, yesterday, last couple of nights ago, wasn't the ideal way. We crossed the line first, but didn't do it. And to do it tonight, we had to work pretty hard to get there. And can't believe how good the racetrack was. You know, at the start of the night, it was taking rubber in time trials, and then just awesome fun up against the fence there. And to do 3 in a row, I think, is pretty cool. Just throw that one down to the steward for us.
So J-Mac can end with a smile here, and the Speedweek points are looking good too. A bonus $10,000 for whoever can take out the championship within a championship, but still with 2 nights to play, Johnny, as the field heads off to Warrnambool.
2 nights at Warrnambool to wrap up USC Speedweek. Meanwhile, Jamie Veal continues his hold at the top of the season-long NZ World Series Sprint Cars Championship.
Mr. Consistent, Brooke Tatnell sitting pretty there in second. McFadden's gone from 16th at round 1 all the way to 3rd. Johnny, that was a bizarre night of racing.
Bizarre night of racing, but still 2 more nights of Speedweek to come. We'll say goodbye to Avalon and look forward to Warrnambool.
Coming up after the break, we wind back to the opening round of the 2011 Slamfest Series from Melbourne's Calder Park Raceway.